The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, UNU Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Hello everyone and welcome to Embrace Your Power. Tonight I have a special guest and her name is Victoria M. Howard. She's published about 12 books. Her first book, Why Women Love Bad Boys, has been translated and sold in over 15 countries. Ms. Howard once hosted a radio talk show and a live dating game show, and she was known by the media as a relationship expert. And in 2011, Victoria was awarded VIP Woman of the Year by Who's Who Worldwide. She's been involved in harness racing and breeding and race horsing for 3 decades, and she's written several books also on the subject. And earlier in her life, she was a professional model and beauty queen winner who once represented her state in the Miss USA pageant. And today, Victoria lives in Florida. So this woman has done so many things, and I'm so excited to have her on. She's going to be calling in soon. And, you know, I love to have people who have unique, inspiring stories. And, you know, everyone has a story to tell. And it's great, you know, that she's written this book. And it's, you know, it's called Dancing for Dollars. And, you know, it's about these women who, they're 4 women, and they meet at this upscale gentleman's club. And, you know, they develop a strong friendship, and, you know, they work together. So some of the challenges that they encounter, you know, it's actually, you know, dangerous in the world of exotic dancers. So, you know, and modeling too, and Hollywood. So, you know, sometimes, you know, you don't realize what's going on. But anyway, she's here. She's calling. Hello?
Call for 5 to accept. Press 1 to send the...
Hello? Okay. There's a... Hello? I guess that was a wrong call. I don't know. Anyway, thought I was Victoria on the line, and it's not. Anyway, I'm expecting her call anytime soon, and that was a weird thing. But anyway, as I was saying, you know, it's, you know, dancing in a gentleman's club is not as exciting and as it must seem. But you know, she wrote this book, and actually the book is a combination of modern day Valley of the Dolls. If any of you know about Valley of the Dolls, 50 Shades of Grey and Magical Mike. So it's really interesting. And, you know, there's been so much buzz about this on social media, this book. And because, you know, it's a compelling story. And, you know, this book is actually, you know, it would be a great movie. So, and so many people have already mentioned it. So this is, you know, going to be really great. And, you know, there's this award winning producer, Alan J. Friedman. He calls it one of Howard's best. And actor Michael Callan cited if he was still acting, he would ask for a role in the movie. So, you know, this is a great topic for us to discuss. And, you know, this book is also available at Author House, Amazon, and Barnes & Noble. So, you know, you can get it anywhere. And if you just Google Dancing for Dollars, you'll find it. So, you know, I'm just really excited to have her on. And, you know, some of the most incredible things is that, you know, people judge other people. And that's kind of sad because, you know, sometimes people have to do things for a living that maybe the average person doesn't do. So, you know, I think that, you know, when you do that, when you judge somebody for what they do for a living, when you don't even understand their background, you know, it's kind of a sad thing because, you know, everyone's human. Everyone needs to make a living. And sometimes, you know, people do things for a living that maybe it's not the norm. So, you know, we have to take a look at ourselves and not judge because there's no perfect person on this earth. So, you know, it's really great thing that, you know, somebody writes these kind of books to get the people, you know, talking about it and to get the people to, you know, think about these things because, you know, it is a different type of book, a different type of story. And, I hope that people read it with an open mind and, really think about, the type of lifestyle. And I'm sure there's, actually the interesting thing is there are some famous people who started out as dancers. Catherine Zeta-Jones. There's a famous producer. I forgot her name, but, there are people, Lady Gaga. So, there's a lot of famous people that have done this for a living, and now they're on to, become these, stars and, movie stars and artists. So, just because you start out one way doesn't mean that's where you're going to be for the rest of your life. It's just a stepping stone to move forward in your life. So, it's one of those things that, you can't, be stuck on what you're doing right now because, so many people are doing things that maybe that's not where you want to be, but that's okay because, you'll move forward in your life and things will change. So, it's a great topic to discuss because so many people get stuck on the fact that I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And, I don't want to be here. And, it's just, everyone goes through different things. And sometimes you just have to realize, okay, I'm not where I want to be, but, I have this vision of where I want to be. And that's the most important thing, that you remain focused. You have that vision, you have that drive, and you keep your eye on the prize. You keep moving forward and you don't allow anyone or anything to get to you. And, that's the most important thing. As a life coach, I always tell people, you don't have to worry about what other people think about you. The only thing that matters is what you think about yourself. So, you can't worry about if someone's, they don't appreciate what you're doing, or they don't approve, because you don't need their approval. The only approval you need is yourself. So, it's really important to really have a good self-esteem, good self-worth, as you move forward in your life, because no matter what happens, you can't lose that, and you can't allow anyone else to define your self-esteem. So, it's really important. So, I'm hoping this is her. I got a call here. Hello? Nothing. Here it is.
Press 1.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, Victoria?
How are you?
Good. How are you? I'm so excited to have you.
You got the right time now, huh?
You got the right time now. Yes. I'm so sorry about earlier. We had a mishap.
That's okay. No problem. It's funny with the different time zones and everything. Everybody gets screwed up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So, I was telling people about you, about your book, and I'm so excited to have you on. Now, I love I was reading a little bit about your bio, your book, and you have some an interesting background, because you wrote, a book that was on the bestsellers, and then you went and you wrote a whole bunch of books about horse racing, and you've done so many different things, and I'm so impressed.
Oh, thank you. Well, I guess I'm just a fickle person. I really didn't know first I started with a relationship, and then I jumped over to children's, and I like the children's, but then I have racehorses, and that's been my life. So I started writing books on racehorses, and I've been getting awards from, with those books. And then I've always wanted to write a Jackie Collins novel, and this started a couple of years ago, and I put it on hold, and I brought it back this year, and it's just, they're calling it like the modern age Valley of the Dolls, and that's exactly what it's like modern day Valley of the Dolls book, because there's 4 different characters, they're all diversified, comes from different parts of the world and different backgrounds, and it's a pretty deep book.
Yeah, it's such an amazing topic. I was just saying a little bit earlier when I first started the show that, a lot of people, they judge people for what they do for a living. And, I'm so glad,
right.
You wrote this book. So tell me a little bit what inspired you to write this book.
Well, when I was young, I was, 16, 17 in Pittsburgh, I how it got started was I lived in Pittsburgh, and I went with a girlfriend, and they were having a go-go dancing contest, and I always liked to dance, and I went and tried out, and I won. And then they flew me to New York, and I was the Miss USA at go-go. Now, this is really something for a 17-year-old girl that never danced professionally. She just did it in her house. So I got a little bit of the world. I was in the world of the not strippers per se, but the go-go dancers, and their world was crazy. And then I got out of the dancing, and I got into horses and modeling, and got married. And then when I got divorced, it was, I think, 18 years ago. Yeah, I moved to Florida, and I never wrote a book. And one day, a bunch of girls were sitting in a cruise, and we're all talking. They go, "Your life is so crazy, Vicki. You should write a book." And I said, "Yeah, right." And they go, "No, really." And write some. So I wrote a book called "Why Women Love Bad Boys," and that just took off. I was on Fox and Friends, and I started writing. And in the meantime, I had a really good friend in South Florida that owned the biggest strip club called Solid Gold. And I used it was just gorgeous. I mean, it had a big, when you walk in, there's a 5-star restaurant, and it's away from the strippers. So I would go there and have dinner with him a lot, and the girls would come up, and I'd meet them, and I was fascinated with them. I mean, they were just beautiful young women. And I'd seen all the money that was going around, and I said, "Can I interview these girls?" And Mike said, "Sure." So I started, talking to them, and I got a lot of their stories, which were crazy stories. And I wanted to write the book, but I wanted to make it a fiction. And so that's how this book came about.
Wow. Yeah, and then, I was reading here, your characters, tell us a little bit about the characters that you picked.
Truthfully, I wanted completely different. I wanted, different girls from different backgrounds, different, like one comes from Japan, and her father's a very, very rich businessman, and he's very strict, and she's a little Japanese geisha sort of type of girl. The other one comes from Philadelphia. She's an Italian Catholic who gets pregnant in her senior year, and then she's excited. She wants to have the baby, and her boyfriend dumps her and leaves her. So her parents tell her that they're not going to raise another baby that's not theirs, and she didn't know she was adopted all these years, see.
Wow.
So they made her give the baby up. She gave the baby up, and the third one was Bella, that comes from Sweden, and she was a beautiful blonde, intelligent scholar that was going to college, and she was having an affair with her female professor, and she got caught. She's gay, so she was thrown out of her house. And then the fourth one was Abigail, who is a Jamaican hermaphrodite, and he was born, Shim was born with both vagina and the penis.
Wow.
So and I had to do a lot of research on this, which completely, I really don't know. I got to tell you the truth. I don't know how that came to my mind. Because I never knew a hermaphrodite, and I didn't even know much what they were about. But when I started researching them, I was like, what? I mean, 1 in 2,000 people, I don't know if you know this, 1 in 2,000 babies are born every day a hermaphrodite.
Wow. That's incredible.
And Jamie Lee Curtis, she was one of them.
Yes, I remember reading about that. That's right.
Mm-hmm. And her mother and dad, Tony Curtis, and what was her mother's name? Janet Leigh.
Janet Leigh, yeah.
They decided that they wanted a girl, so they clipped him. They had him clipped. And that's why she's never had any babies. She's adopted children. And she kind of looks like, in a way, that, she could have been, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
If you ever look, she's beautiful.
Yes.
But she has that, that she has that alpha side of her. And so, that's how that came about. And I don't know. The girls are so diversified, and I think that every reader could relate to one of these women.
Yeah, you're right. Yes, I think that that's great that you did that because, different cultures, different backgrounds. And as I was stating before you came on the line that, sometimes, people judge other people based on, what they do, but they don't even know their background. They don't know where they've come from. They don't know what they've been through,
No, that's the main reason I wrote the book, because the women that I interviewed, now, you can't judge a whole, there's going to be maybe a rotten egg in the dozen, you know what I mean? But you can't judge the whole dozen. And most of these women, young girls, they were doing it because they were single mothers, or they were from the third world countries, and they were supporting their families back home. Or they're putting themselves through college to better their, education and become something. These were really beautiful, intelligent women. And what they did, I mean, what goes on behind the curtains, that's another part of the book. And that's what a lot of readers are interested in. But that is between the dancer and, most of the dancers just dance.
Right.
They dance. They collect their money. They get a lot of money. Where are you going to be, making hundreds or thousands of dollars a night? That's just, unheard of, really.
Yeah, it is.
So, these young girls, they do it. They make their money. Some of them go on. They get married. Some of them, have businesses, careers, and some of them go into porn or whatever.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting, that. A lot of women, sometimes too, they're thrown into a situation. For instance, I personally knew somebody years ago who went through, a lot of trauma in her life, and she became a dancer. It was because she was married for so many years, she didn't have any skills, and she didn't know what else to do. So, she was beautiful, and somebody offered her that. So, you just never know.
And we shouldn't judge. Nobody should judge anybody. You know what I mean? They really shouldn't. So that's the main reason I wrote this book. I wanted it to. These women are all strong women, and they've all been abused in some way. So it kind of ties in with the Me Too movement that's going on, ironically.
Yeah.
And they all prevail. They, with the friendship of each other, and they're strong women, and they all come out on top. And that's what I really like about the story.
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, because it's inspiring and empowering. And the great thing is that if somebody was to read your book who is a dancer or has done that before in the past, I'm sure that they're going to end up feeling empowered and inspired. As they could relate.
Well, it's the girls that I know that dance in South Florida. They're all pretty nice women. They all have good reasons for doing what they're doing. They don't, whatever, like I said, whatever someone does when they, afterwards, that's their business. I don't care, I don't judge, and that's not what the book's about. It's not to put down or degrade women that are dancers. I'm not saying that that's what, if I had a daughter, that's what I would want her to do. But where else are you going to make just to dance? I mean, I don't see anything wrong with dancing and making thousands of dollars a night. I really don't. So the story is mainly about the dancers and what they do when they quit dancing. One becomes a famous actress. The other one becomes a top model, and she marries America's top model. So they open an agency in New York. The third one becomes the new Heidi Fleiss. She becomes she's a dominatrix, and she becomes the madam of all the rich and powerful politicians in D.C. And then the hermaphrodite, she opens the biggest nightclub in South Beach. So it's pretty good, and we're hoping to get it to be I was hoping a movie I just got back from L.A., and I've been on the radio, and everybody seems to think that this is going to be a TV series.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, like HBO or Netflix or something, because there's 4 different women and they're so different. So every week there could be a different story, you know what I mean, for the viewer.
Yeah, no, that sounds exciting. Wow, so you must be so excited.
Well, we'll see. Well, let's just hope. Let's hope.
Yeah, that is great. Because I mean, this is your baby. Now, how long did it take you to write this book?
About 9 months. But when I write, it's my whole life. I sit here and I write seriously 8 to 10 hours a day. And, I go like 6 days a week. So I put in a 50-hour week. And it took me about 8 or 9 months.
Wow. Yeah, I'm sure, and as you develop your characters, did you base them on anyone that, you saw maybe as in real life, or were they all made up?
Well, I took maybe a little bit out of this girl or a little bit out of that girl, and I, elaborated the stories, and I embellished it, but I made it so nobody knows who, if they are, they can't say, oh, she's writing about her, or she's writing about her. No, they can't do that. They're definitely fiction, but I did take some little snippets from the girls and made it into a character.
Wow, it's so great. And one of the things that I read too is that there's a couple of famous actresses, there's artists who used to dance. So I've read that Catherine Zeta-Jones,
yep.
Lady Gaga, Anna Nicole Smith, Courtney Love, Amber Rose. That's just to name a few. And then also too, there's the Academy Award-winning screenwriter Diablo Cody.
Yes. Yeah, in fact, I just sent her the book.
Oh, wow!
Because I want her to read the book, and hopefully she likes it enough that she wants to be involved in making it a series. But also there were Tatum Channing. He was in real life. He was a male stripper, and so was Brad Pitt. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I could have seen him dance. I would have liked to have seen that one.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I could see, him dancing definitely, but the movie Magic Mike,
Right. And well, that was a fiction also, but it's ironic that he was a dancer before he became an actor, and that's probably why he was so good in his role. But in fact, when I was writing this book and I was interviewing, I went to a male stripper club, and I was interviewing the male strippers, and they're not involved in this story here, but boy, do they have some stories to tell, too. You wouldn't believe their stories. Maybe that'll be the next book.
Yeah, well, that's true. You don't think about it because, when you think about dancers, you automatically think about women. But, yeah, I'm sure that's true. There's a lot of men who probably take abuse, too,
Oh, yeah. Well, I went to Vegas a couple years ago with the girlfriends, and we went to see the Thunder from Down Under. That was all the Australian strippers, the men. And we were on stage with them, and they were, oh, my God, one was better looking than the other. They were just, were they gorgeous. And they know how to dance, and, it's the same thing as a woman, except they do it as a group. They come out as a group, and it's pretty, I don't know. I think that this book may open the eyes on a lot of readers of the life of a exotic dancer, and it's not what most people think they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what I loved about this book is I'm thinking to myself, this is great media material because people do have these preconceived notions. And they don't know, and not everyone has ever gone to a strip club either, so they have no idea what goes on. They have no idea about the girls that do it. They don't have a clue at all.
Right, and they are, believe it or not, I have a girlfriend right now. I was on LA Talk Radio last week in LA, and they were asking me the age you're supposed to be 18. Okay, that's the bottom line, you know. Most of the girls I interviewed were in their 20s, early 20s. But I know women that are in their 40s that are grandmothers, but they are drop-dead gorgeous and built real, you know, they go to the gym 3 hours a day. They take care of themselves. And they can go right along with these young girls. And some of the guys like the older women better because they're more experienced and more mature, and they're more career. You know, they entertain. Right. They entertain the men by dancing because it's a job for them. They want their money. So I have a girlfriend, believe it or not, that's 56 years old, and if you would see her, you'd say, "No way." She looks like she's 30, and she's still dancing.
Wow. Well,
that's rare.
It is rare, but you know that's the thing is that women are taking care of themselves much better now. And, you know, you see how many women that are in their 40s and 50s, they look amazing. They, you know, they do take care of themselves. And so, yeah, I don't doubt that, you know, at all.
Mm-hmm. Well, this book is, like I said, the basis of it is empowerment. And women that are, you know, I think this is a time when, and I'm not a feminist, but I do believe that, you know, women are very powerful and very strong, and they don't get the credit that is due. And that's why I'm all for, you know, women power, you know. Yeah. And I like anything that shows that women are strong human beings. In fact, who did God make have the babies? He didn't have the men make the babies. He had the women. Can you see a man having a baby?
No.
I can't. No way. No, women are very strong individuals, and I'm glad to see them starting to, you know, stand up for themselves and have a voice.
Yeah, no, me too. You know, and that's the thing is that, you know, a lot of women, you know, they feel like they don't have a voice, but they do. And, you know, I think too, like it starts, you know, young too. That, you know, when you're young, you have to, you know, develop your self-esteem, your self-worth, and that's really important. It starts, you know, I wish that they would have these types of training in school, and actually, you know, it starts early. It starts in elementary school.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep. If women were taught, you know, their self-worth, their self-love, and then a lot of women too, they get into these abusive situations because of that. So, you know, I think it's really great. I think it's great that, you know, there's a big movement like this, and, you know, but definitely education does play a big role in that.
Well, I agree with you, and going back to I was telling you, my first book was Why Women Love Bad Boys. That book, it is true. Women, the majority of women are attracted to the bad boy instead of the nice guy. And why? Why is that? Because they said because they're exciting, you know, they keep us on our toes. But I did find out that a lot of these women that it's a pattern that I had my own radio show once. It was called Beauty and the Shrink, and I had it with Dr. Levinson from New York. And that people would call in and talk to us about, you know, their relationships. And I found out that even in my own case, the girls are, when they see how their mothers are treated, it's a pattern. We usually grow up and we follow that pattern. If they were physically abused or they were emotionally, you know, verbally abused, it seems like we grow up and we think that that's the way it should be. That's why it should start young. It should, you know, the way that you see it at home, how they interact with your parents. I think that's a big, big thing.
Yeah, no, you know, you're absolutely right. You know, because and you know, the abuse starts, you know, young. If that's all they know, then they look for a lot of girls look for a dad like a father figure. You know, like
right. It was me. That's what I did.
Yeah.
That's what I did. I married a guy 18 years older than me. I was always looking for that father figure, yeah. And it wasn't physical abuse. Mine was all emotional abuse and verbal abuse, which was just as bad. Sometimes it's worse because those scars don't heal as easy.
Yeah, no, I completely relate because I was married for 24 years to a guy who emotionally and verbally abused me. And, the interesting thing was that, I had such low self-esteem. Going into the marriage, I didn't. And he, he was so charismatic and so romantic.
Oh, yeah.
He wooed me,
I know. They're the charmers. They're bad boys, the charmers. They do. They woo us, and I was the same way. I was married to this guy that he was a lot older, but when I wanted to be, I was the perfect little Stepford wife, and I helped him run his businesses, and one day he wanted me to try out for the beauty pageant in our town, and I was a model years before that, but I was, almost 30, and I went into the Mrs. USA pageant. I won the Mrs. My title for the state, and I went into the Mrs. USA pageant, and when I didn't win, he wanted a divorce because I didn't win.
Wow.
And I was devastated. I was crying. I can't even believe now what I was like. I said, I'm so sorry. I wasn't good enough to win. Now I would, said, get out, kick him to the curb. But it takes us that much, we have to, and I really to this day, he's passed on now. I mean, we got divorced a long time ago and he passed on, but I realized I can't blame him. I blame me. Because I'm the one that I have to look in the mirror. I'm the one that allowed him to act that way.
Exactly.
I didn't put my foot down. So, that's the problem with a lot of women today.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's what I had to do. I had to look in the mirror and say, take a really good look at myself, and why I allowed it for so long too. I mean, I was with this person for 24 years. I mean, my my self-esteem and my value, everything was down. I mean, when I left him, I went to a therapist. I went to a therapist for a year. I had a great therapist, and she did so much work with me. And, when I left him, I wanted to become a new person. I actually threw away all my clothes. I said,
good for you.
I didn't want nothing to do with who I was before. I cut my hair, I colored it, I got new clothes.
I did too. I even got the tattoo. They wouldn't let me have a tattoo, so I got a tattoo. Cut my hair short. Oh, we can relate, I know. Yeah. How long have you been divorced?
Oh, I've been divorced from my first ex-husband now for like 12 years. And so it was great. But yeah, I felt good. I felt liberated. I felt like a butterfly that I was flying. And,
oh my gosh, I can't believe you're saying this. This is so wild. I started a women's group a couple years ago with Dr. Alan Friedman, who is he's a producer from California. And I met him, and we started this. It's called the Butterfly Movement.
Oh my God!
And it was honest to God, and it was about empowering women of becoming the person they were meant to be, but were held back because of a reason, like a husband or a boyfriend or whatever. So we did a 12-step program, and it shows you like we're all born in a cocoon. We're like the butterfly in a cocoon because we're in the womb, and then each step takes you to finally when you're free and you fly and you're the butterfly. It was. I can't believe you said that. Wow. That's so wild.
I just got goosebumps because I have to tell you what happened. A month before I decided to divorce my first ex-husband, I had a dream. I had a dream that I was in a cocoon, and that I struggled out of the cocoon, and that I got my wings and I started flying, and I heard a voice. God. I heard a voice tell me, Janet, it's time to go fly, and this was incredible because I live in New Jersey, and it was in December, and it was really, really cold, and everywhere I went, I saw these little white butterflies flying everywhere. I was like, what the heck is
Oh
going
my
on?
gosh.
They shouldn't be alive. It's too cold for them, and it just blew me away. It blew me away.
Oh my God, that's a great story. No, I believe in all that stuff, believe me. And that's another thing. Here we go again about empowerment. That's what I was coaching women. I am woman, the butterfly movement. So and I wrote books on that. I had books on that, but it's ironic that now I wrote my first novel is about 4 women that were all abused and in their own way. One was raped by her stepbrother. The other one got pregnant and her boyfriend left her. The hermaphrodite was his boyfriend found out finally that she was a he, so he beat him and put him in a hospital. I mean, they all overcome these horrible tragedies, and they prevail and are all famous and very, very wonderful women at the very end of the story. So I'm hoping it's a movie or a series, because I think it'll just open up a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's great because people don't understand when you go through abuse, unless you've been through it, you have no clue. You have no clue what you go through at all.
And most women, I would say, say you give 10 women, 8 of them can relate to it in some type, whether it's been sexually abused or abused as a child, or emotionally abused, or losing your self-esteem, or physical abuse. Almost every woman has had a story, really, the ones that I met.
Yeah.
And just different degrees. Some of them are really, strong, and some of them are weak.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that I as a survivor of abuse, or I shouldn't say survivor, because I call myself a victor of that. I when I meet women, I love it when I hear that they're empowering themselves, and there are the women, like, I'm a life coach, and I meet women and I just have a heart for them, because I know what I went through. And
absolutely, you got to be compassionate, and you can relate, and that's why you're going to be good at what you're doing, because they can pick up on that. You've been there, you've done that.
Yeah, and you have to be
very good.
Yeah, you have to be empathetic, and like even like when I come across people who have no clue, they're like, well, why didn't she leave? And why did she stay? And you don't know the whole story, and so you can't judge. I tell people, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. My life looked perfect. I had this beautiful home.
You're right.
I had this beautiful
home. I know.
Everything. I mean, people were like, oh my God, you got it made. You got a beautiful home. You got a great job. You go on these fancy vacations, and, you got it made, but they didn't know once the doors closed, what was going on behind the closed doors.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. You and I have so much in common.
Yes.
I believe things happen for a reason. There's no coincidence in life.
No, there isn't.
And no, so I guess that's why we're supposed to be on your show.
Yes, I do. Because that's the thing. Like, it's funny you say you have this butterfly movement, and I was just talking to another girlfriend of mine, and I said, I love to have some kind of, movement to empower women, because, especially like the ones that have been abused, and, they're starting over, and they don't know like what to do first, and to have that support for them, and to empower them, and to help them with their self-esteem, their self-love, and to begin to, nurture themselves and become that beautiful butterfly that they were meant to be all along.
You're absolutely right. And that's what I think, obviously I had men snub their nose at me, thinking that I was being a chauvinist, which I'm not. I love men, but I just don't love the way that they treat a lot of women. But then again, that's where we have to stand up for ourselves and not allow it. We have to be smart enough that we think, oh, we can save him, or we think we can change him. No, wrong, you're not going to do it, you know.
Exactly. That's so true because that's what I thought. I thought, well, I can change him. If I love him enough, he'll change. It's not going
I know. Very true.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way, and it's, we have to learn, one of the things that I had to learn for myself was how to set boundaries, not just with men when I started dating, but with other people, because I don't know if this happened to you, but as a person who was emotionally and verbally abused, I didn't know how to stand up for myself. So, I would actually meet women and who would try to control me and manipulate me too. So.
Oh yeah. Oh no, that's very true. That's right. You're and I think women have to, get over this. I think we're getting better. That, back in when I was younger, they're jealous of each other or they're catty or whatever. That's so silly. Women should stand beside each other. And men do. Why shouldn't women?
Yes.
And help each other through these times, because we all have our bestseller. There's none of us are special or different. We all have the story to tell. So if we all just like the four characters in the book, they bonded. They were completely different nationalities, different backgrounds, family backgrounds, religions. But they were very strong, and they loved each other, and they helped each other through the times. That's what we have to do.
Yeah, I completely agree, and because that's, we do need each other. We need each other's support, and not to judge. We shouldn't be judging each other or comparing ourselves or getting jealous. We should,
You're right.
Whenever I hear of a woman, accomplishing something, I always go out of my way and say, oh my God, I'm so proud of you, awesome.
Me too.
It's like, to me, oh my God, to see somebody is happy, or if I see them happy, just, to me, that's like the most amazing thing. And I love to see people happy, especially
I
women.
I do too. Life is short, this is, we're all in it for the same, who knows how long we're here for. So while you're here, it's to help each other out and to, and to be there for each other. And I think that women are getting that way, and I'm very proud of them.
Yeah, me too. I'm really seeing a change in focus, and I think that the more that people talk about it too, and the more that women see other women bonding together and empowering each other and being there for each other, it's going to become the norm.
I agree. So maybe we'll have our little, we'll be helping somebody out tonight just, by talking about, say, oh, I can relate to that, or is that, so anybody that, if you can just help one person, then you've done well. That's how I feel.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I always say, one person can change the world, because sometimes people tell me, oh, I'm only one person, I can't change the world. I go, yes, you can.
Yeah. One person can. If you can help one person, that person, it's like a trickling effect. And you help that person, and that's what it's all about. But that's great. I'm glad we had this talk.
Yeah, no, this is great. And I wanted to say, I am so proud of you because you were awarded VIP Woman of the Year.
Yeah. Well, that was for all. That's when I was doing the I Am Woman and the Butterfly Movement, and I even had a game show here in South Florida. It was a live dating game show. It was called the Kick 'Em to the Curb.
Oh my goodness.
And it was just like the old dating game on TV. It was fun. Then it would be one person, whether it was one woman behind a partition and three men, or one man and three women. And then I had different nights. I had college night. I had cougar night for the older women and the younger men. I had gay night. I had it for everybody. It was wild. It was great. It was in the Blue Martinis here in South Florida.
Wow, that sounds like so much fun. That must have been so much fun to do.
It was a lot of fun, and it was, it was all in they'd pick one date, and then they'd go out, and then they'd come back and tell us how it was. I don't know if I was a matchmaker. I wouldn't say that because I don't know anybody that got married. But there were some people that had a good time meeting somebody. A lot of times they come back and say, "Oh my gosh, why did I pick him?" or "Why did I pick her?" But that's, when you don't see somebody and you don't judge them on their looks. That's, I always say you have to marry your best friend. And a lot of us, I'm guilty too. I mean, I still look at looks, unfortunately. You have to have some kind of chemistry there. And, but if you don't know what they look like and you just pick somebody because you think you're compatible and you like the way they think, that's usually going to work. You know what I mean? Because then you fall in love, if you really love that person. And I've been with guys that weren't really good looking that I grew to really think they were great.
Yeah, no, I completely I completely understand what you're saying, and I relate because for me, I have to fall in love with a person's soul. Looks aren't important to me.
Right.
I've dated all kinds of handsome men, but for me, the most important is how they treat me, they respect me, and like you said, they have to be my best friend. And I love to laugh. I'm a very outgoing, social butterfly, and I love to go dancing. I'm full of life, and they have to be like that.
Well, I wish you lived closer to. Where do you live?
I live in New Jersey, in central New Jersey.
Oh gosh, okay. Because in fact, I'm going to be going up there next week. I have to go to. I'm going to fly into Newark, and then I'm driving over to. Oh gosh, it's a rock and roll station in Connecticut.
Oh wow!
And and I'll be on there for 3 hours with the book. But but I mean, if you live close, we sound like we'd be two pals. That's for sure. A lot in common.
Newark Airport's not that far from me.
Yeah, I know. Well, I don't know how long I'm going to be there, but maybe we'll keep in touch.
Yeah, no, definitely. No, that's the thing is like, you have to have a passion for life, and no matter what you've been through, you need to not allow that to define you and to stop you from living. And, it's you deserve to be happy. You do.
Everybody does. Like I said, everybody does. I have friends, when you hit a certain age, you really start to see they start to drop like flies. I mean, even in the 40s, they start dying. I mean, it's like a wake up call.
Yeah.
And I have friends that were fine, and next thing I know, I get a phone call: so and so died, or had a heart attack, or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know. When you're younger, you don't think about these things, okay? But when you get older, you realize it. And I think we, start to appreciate every day, and that's what we should do at least, and treat each other better. And like I said, we gotta stand by each other and empower each other.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Yeah, gratitude is so important. Like you said, appreciate every day. Wake up every morning and be grateful for everything. I have this.
Amen.
I have this gratitude that I do. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I just say thank you for this wonderful bed that I, got to sleep in. And then I step out of bed. I said thank you for my feet, that I have feet to walk.
Yep.
I go through everything. My hands. Thank you that I have my eyes to see. That I open up my eyes and I could see.
You know what? That's what you're saying is so true, and I hope people will listen and start doing the same thing, because we take so much for granted, and it's a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
So we have to really make the best of it and treat people well, and try to make ourselves happy, because if you can't make yourself happy, nobody else can.
Exactly. I have this thing what I say, grateful people are happy people. And if you're not grateful for what you have now, what makes you think you're going to be happy with more?
And it's true, because at one time I had, like you said, you had everything, okay? I had everything too. And when I was married, and I thought that's what would make me happy. But the more you have, sometimes really, the people I knew were very wealthy, and they were the most miserable people.
Yes. I've met them.
You know, so we need to. I'm not saying money is a necessity, and yeah, you know, but it's be thankful for what you have, because the grass always looks greener on the other side, and it's not.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, you know. And if everyone starts with just, being grateful for the little things. And sometimes, you know what, it's those little simple things in life that bring the most happiness.
You're right, and that's very true. The simple things is what really is the best. I think when you get older, you realize that. You know, we tell our children, I have a child grown up, but I tell him he's in his 30s. And I tell him, and he looks at me like, what do you know? You know, I know. I wish I knew then what I know now, which most people say, you know.
Yeah, no, I completely relate. Yeah, definitely. You know, people lose sight of that. And one of the things too that I tell people is that, laugh every day. Just find a funny video or find something funny to laugh at, because laughter is the best medicine. You can't be sad and laughing at the same time. It doesn't,
you're right.
You can't. So
you're right.
I always give everyone a challenge. I challenge everyone, and everyone who's listening, I'm challenging you. Laugh 15 minutes every day. The kind of laughter that like your belly hurts and you just crack up laughing. I find YouTube videos of funny animals doing funny things or little kids.
Me too.
And I just crack up laughing.
Me too. I think you can find nothing is going to be peaches and cream. I mean, everybody has problems. Everybody has hardships. I think it's how we handle them. And again, here we go again. This is why I believe that having a good friend is the best thing. You have somebody you can vent to, and you can get it off your chest. And a good girlfriend, they'll help you through anything.
Yes, no, definitely. I completely agree. That's why women have to band together and to say, hey, you know what? I'm here to help you. I'm here to listen to you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to listen, and,
right.
Be here for you. So, that's so great. And so I'm so happy that, we got to meet.
Me too. I am too. I'm so glad. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad you liked the book, and hopefully we're going to get it to be a TV series. I hope that in the meantime, for all the listeners out there, you can go buy the book, Dancing for Dollars. Either at right now you can get it online in 2 days. Amazon will send it to you in 2 days. So it's by Victoria M. Howard, and it's really a good book.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, and I can't wait. I'm going to get my own copy because I want to read it. And it's so intriguing. As soon as I saw it, I said, I got to read this book, And, I love to read.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. You're going to relate to it. Believe me, you will. And then I want you to call me and let me know what you think, okay?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. I can't wait. This is, I also too, want to say that, I think it's so amazing and incredible that, you have written this book and what you've gone through, and, that you can empower other women with this book. And that's so incredible because, you're starting something that people need to hear.
Well, I think that a lot of us know it. We just don't grasp it. We all know what this is all about with the abuse and stuff like that. And I just don't think we can stand up to it. And in the book, when you read this, you root for these women. You cheer for them. You want them to come out and prevail, and you want them, and they do. And I think I kind of lived my life through each character, and that's what I wanted to write for the readers. Yeah.
Well, that's great, and I love how you say we need to root for each other. Can you imagine? How you go to a baseball game or a sports game, and everyone goes they go crazy, rooting for the team. Mm-hmm. That's what we need to do for each other as women. We need to go, yes,
That's correct. You're right. I totally agree with you. Men do. They get together and do it. Why shouldn't women?
I know. We need to learn from them, right?
That's right. We need to. Believe me, I believe we're the stronger gender. Women are stronger than men in many ways. Maybe not physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, we are the stronger of the two sexes.
Yeah, I truly believe that too. Yes. So, it's so great. But, well, I'm going to be rooting and cheering you on because, this is awesome. I think this is so awesome.
Well, thank you very much. And I thank you for having me. And it was very nice. And let me know how you like the book.
Yes, I will, definitely. We got to stay in touch, So let me know when you're back in Newark.
Okay, I'm leaving next Monday, so maybe before then we'll talk and work something out.
Sounds great. All right. Well, thank you so much, Victoria. It was such a pleasure to have you on my show and to meet you. And, I'm so excited about this book and just nothing but awesome things.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. So have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Well, everyone, that was Victoria M. Howard. Oh, my gosh. Such a great woman and, empowering. And, you really, don't know what someone goes through and, until you get to know them. So, you can't judge anyone. And so, I leave you with this. When you meet someone and you look at them, don't look at them from the outside. Try to get to know them on the inside because that's the most important thing. So I hope that you enjoyed this program and I leave you with this, embrace your power because my show is about embracing your power. And I hope that you go about your day with gratitude and with love and that you just enjoy your life and be happy, be happy with your life and be grateful. Well, thank you for listening in and until next time, bye-bye.